Other areas of her expertise include teacher evaluation and academic standards. And she notes that prior to her work at AFT, she developed and led programs with migrant farm workers, near and dear to my heart: youth development, teacher professional development, and community school collaborations in Washington and San Francisco. So, you know, Giselle, we cannot thank you enough for being here and sharing your national expertise and depth of knowledge with our state. And we look forward to hearing your wise words in this next half hour.
Thank you so much, Maria. And it is just such an honor to be with all of you here today and to have heard just fantastic presentations all morning long. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I wanted to let everybody know that we have Florida sunshine in the DC area today, but we are getting ready for a big snowstorm this weekend. So we're enjoying it today while we can. All right. So I wanted to just go over some of the barriers, some of the mess that this pandemic has created, so that we know what our task at hand is going forward. As my wonderful co-presenters have already mentioned, we have seen how this pandemic has emphasized the inequities in our school systems nationwide. And one of the advantages that I have is working with educators across the country. And never have we heard just so many similar stories in terms of how this pandemic has further widened many gaps that already existed. One of the most detrimental effects of this pandemic has been the just how relationships have deteriorated between students and educators, and the different stages, whether children are in early childhood education or upper elementary, middle school, high school. Every single one of these developmental stages is crucial for their development as they come into the world, as they learn how to become human beings. And it's just really alarming to us how technology has not been an ideal solution for these challenges. Of course, one of the things that almost everybody mentions is the technology, the access to the internet. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because we all know just what a pronounced issue this is, and especially for many immigrant communities around the country. We have seen just what a monumental lack of appropriate resources for communicating with families there is. And it makes us wonder, in so many schools, weren't they communicating with families before? And of course, we know the answer: not very well or not very much. And in many cases, a lot of schools don't even realize that they're violating civil rights laws and that they're violating long-standing policies that protect our English language learners. So we have seen just entrenched poverty becoming worse. The last 4 years have also just been extremely traumatic in terms of the anti-immigrant rhetoric that many of our communities have been subjected to. So they're dealing with that. They're dealing with the traumas of isolation. Other traumas, depression. We have been just bombarded almost every day with stories about disengagement, children who were excellent, able, and capable students before the pandemic just shutting down, and not even showing up in many cases. We know that many of them have lost family members, not just here, but in their home countries. So there's a lot of grief and bereavement that we have to deal with. Just issues of, just it's just so difficult to even talk about, but the suicides that have exacerbated during this period too. And I know most of us have heard of the suicides that happened recently in Clark County in Nevada. And we're not even talking about academics yet. So we know that we have just a gargantuan challenge of handling these social emotional challenges in front of us. So yes, absolutely. There is need for a lot of, academic achievement concerns, but alongside with academic recovery, we also have to think of social recovery for our children and for so many of our educators as well. But I don't, I don't want all those barriers to get in our way. We know that they're there, and who better equipped than dealing with this than those of us who are educators, who are lifelong learners, who are experts at trying to buscar el sí, as Jerry was saying, because there is just a lot that we're going to have to get through and go through. So how do we as educators at the state level, at the national level, for people like myself, how do we start turning around? What are the things that we are going to have to clamor for in this climate, in this environment? I think the fact that so many of the traumas that we're seeing have become so prevalent have put the spotlight on specialized instructional support personnel, like our therapists, our counselors, our speech language pathologists, school psychologists, behavioral specialists, school nurses. And when you ask yourself how many of them are bilingual, the number is even lower than our bilingual teachers and other bilingual educators in a school. So we're really making a push to the Biden administration to increase the numbers, the hiring and retention of these specialists alongside bilingual education specialists and those who are credentialed in ESL or ESOL. And many school districts have become strapped budget-wise, and oftentimes the first to go are our specialists in instruction and our specialists for social emotional care. In some districts, we have some school nurses who are in charge of 10 or 12 schools, and that is just unacceptable. And it just is infuriating. So Another thing that we are going alongside, like I said, not just the social recovery, but the instructional recovery, the academic recovery is going to be really important too, because our kids are going to, it's almost like everybody has taken one step back. Many of our kids have taken 4 or 5 steps back in terms of their academic proficiency. We are pushing really hard for tutoring support, in intensive interactive instruction for our kids, and we definitely need to have a priority list. So this is something else that we are working very hard on. And of course, más programas bilingües, because we know they work. And I think everybody before me has made the case that when we have a dual language program that is high quality, that is based on research, that has the appropriate staff and personnel working on it, you know, from the front desk staff person, as Jerry, you know, was mentioning, you know, who is welcoming and who speaks your language, to the teachers, to the support staff in the school. It just makes a world of difference. And we have been advocating for bilingual programs for a very, very, very long time. And we know that we don't have the bilingual programs that we need out there. But just, you know, listening to, you know, the presentations today, you know, like everything that Suzanne was talking about, you know, we need to put, you know, these just this ample evidence. We have just mountains of evidence that show that bilingual education works. And why are we basically the only industrialized country that doesn't embrace multilingualism, where it's abnormal to run into a student or an educator that speaks more than one language. You go to other countries and that's just not the case. And even for the non-industrialized countries, you see that there is a big focus on learning other languages, and it's better for our brains. It's better for your social interactions. It's better for the economy. The arguments I'm preaching to the choir, but many times I'm not. And so we know that this works. And for as long as all of us are working on this, you know that you will always have a friend by your side called Colorín Colorado, which I think it was also Suzanne who said is bueno, bonito y barato. So it will always remain a free service from the American Federation of Teachers. We also have the NEA, who came on as a partner a couple of years ago. So we really are all in this together. And it has been a partnership of our local PBS station, WETA, and the AFT. And we're going into our 17th year of working together. I know it feels like longer, but every year we thought, well, maybe, you know, this will be it, and it'll be a website that is static and is just there with a few articles that we were able to put on it. But year after year, the AFT has really, you know, just we've walked the talk with this website, you know, providing just the most valuable information, bringing research and practice together. And so you could say that AFT has been the engine, and WETA has been the daily conductor of this train. And actually the project director for Colorín Colorado, Lydia Bryceff, is the best conductor that we could have hoped for this work together for all these years. And as many of you know, it has everywhere, you know, from articles to classroom footage. We have some lesson plans, although we're not a lesson plan bank, but it has all the components to either build a professional development program or to make your case for better services for English language learners. And it's there, you know, for you to use any way you want to improve and elevate and amplify the needs of our kids. And this is just a sampling of our fan club, who are just all kinds of educators, from our mainstream general ed educators who have not even had one course during their teacher education program to work with English language learners, to our seasoned bilingual ed professionals and ESL professionals who come to the website to get refreshed and learn what's new in the field, and who's talking about what. Our school counselors and parent coordinators love us. Librarians love the book lists that they find on the website. And we are so thankful to our higher ed faculty who use what's on the website, you know, to prepare their students. And so, Maria, I just wanted to do a little time check with you. Do you think I have time to show one of our latest videos on the website?
I do think so.
Yes.
At least 9 more minutes. Yeah.
Okay, good. I just don't want to take too much time. And thank you so much for the messages in the chat. Sometimes I'm so bad at multitasking with Zoom. It's like I just perfected the art of not keeping myself on mute. So let's see. So I want to show you a little snippet of a dual language program that we recently filmed here in this area in Arlington, Virginia. It's called Claremont Immersion School. It's part of our public school system here in Arlington, Virginia. And here is a little bit of the video that we have from there.
Most children walk into Claremont Immersion School in Arlington, Virginia, speaking only their native language. By the end of 5th grade, they walk out bilingual in English and Spanish. But they take a lot of different pathways to that end result. For English language learners, the pathway involves several different supports, depending on what students need. In Amanda Reynolds' 4th grade classroom, she provides word study assignments at several different levels, including a level for John Carlos. He arrived in the United States from Colombia last fall. He's fluent in Spanish and has little experience in English.
There's another word, I think. Mouse. I try and make modifications for him so that he can be understanding what we're talking about. And I try to differentiate for his level as well. So for example, today in word study, you know, I have my word study groups all spread out throughout the room, and I had a sort specifically for him that is at his level. It's not necessarily at 4th grade English level, but it's at his level. If I sit with him, and I think the easiest thing for him, he's a very oral person, so he does like to discuss and give examples, but also I try and provide that pictorial support so that he can visualize kind of what we're talking about. Bat?
What is baseball?
It's what you use when you play baseball, yeah. There's another kind of bat too. Do you know it's an animal?
Bat?
Mm-hmm. Right, it is a bat that you use in baseball. A bat is also an animal that flies, usually at night when it's dark.
Oh, bat.
Mm-hmm. Do you know the word for bat in Spanish?
Yeah.
What's a bat in Spanish?
Mucelado.
He understands a lot. It's the producing of the language that's always the more challenging part, the speaking and the writing. And so for him, I will often read a text aloud to him if we're doing an activity, and then I'll have him orally tell me kind of what his response is, and I'll write for him, because he's a student who gets kind of stuck on, I don't want to write because I might not spell it right. And I want to get past that because I want him to be able to participate in the activity. So I'll read something aloud for him and scribe for him.
While this scaffolding allows John Carlos to participate in the 4th grade classroom, he still needs some extra help as he continues learning English.
How are you?
Good.
3 days a week for about 45 minutes, John Carlos spends time with Elizabeth Varela, the 4th grade ESOL teacher. They focus on oral language development.
So that's a new
The point is really to speak a lot of English, as much English as he can, without forcing it. It has to be natural for him.
Does your person have blonde hair, yellow hair?
No.
Okay.
The person have black hair or yellow hair.
And I'll stop it right there.
He has learned English, though, so quickly. I think because
I'll stop it right there because I know you're pressed for time, but that's just a little snippet of a new video production that we have that also shows children who are monolingual in English learning Spanish. And that is just been wonderful to see. So we have a brand new page also on pandemic related teaching resources, guides and advice. So that's readily on the site. We have a new section for brand new teachers that hopefully will inspire them to remain in the profession. And there's just a lot more, as you know. It is a living website, and if there's anything that you don't see that you would like to see, please let me know, let Lydia know, because we have a long running to-do list, and we're small but mighty, and we eventually get to those things. So so with that, thank you so much. Thank you.
Giselle, thank you for being here. It's just a treat and a pleasure, and we're very grateful for your time and the work that you're doing nationally. We're here in Florida, we're working really hard, and so if you see things that at the state level or even at the local level, that ways that we can partner with AFT and work with people in Washington, or also the reverse way, we're struggling as a state to get state level support for growing dual language programs, like some states have done, Utah, Delaware, Oregon. I mean, we know these states, right? And we have not been one of them, but we would appreciate support from the national level too here at our state, or any way we can partner. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And I'm just going to take a moment to close out this part of the conference. Well, actually, no, we have a few minutes. I'll see if anybody has a question first for Giselle before we close out. Questions for Giselle?
Well, I see we have a few
Okay,
things in the chat. Yes,
okay, go ahead then, go ahead. I was just going to thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Yes, the website is I use it all the time, and my students at the college. I put it up, and everyone has access to your website. It's so incredibly informative. It's on our syllabus. So I just wanted to extend a huge thank you to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate it. I mean, we run on, on educator and researcher fuel. So and love for the kids. Those are the drivers.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you again. So we'll close out this part of the conference, and we have a lot of energy going forward and some very good ideas. And I'm also hearing some important things from our membership of directions that we could go in and we should go in. And again, we are in this place of hope and optimism, but also recognizing the reality, Giselle, of what you're talking about and the social, emotional, and other tolls that are being taken on our communities, on our communities of color, on our migrant farm worker communities, and the children that are disproportionately affected by COVID. It's a really difficult time. But I'd like to turn the rest of the meeting over to our current president,